Antti Wolk, our very own Managing Director at Wolk Aftersales Experts here in Germany. Now, Antti's going to take us through a high-level European overview, even though, quite often Wolk is seen as experts in the German aftermarket, which naturally we are, but we also do a lot of other work across Europe and across the globe. So Antti's going to give us, as I said, a high-level overview of Europe, but then at the same time, we've got many different presentations by other speakers looking at specific key markets in Europe, for example, Poland or Portugal or the Italian market. So be sure, don't miss those out. So, I'd like to welcome our very own Antti Wolk, Managing Director at Wolk After Sales Experts.
Yeah, thank you very much, Robbie. My name is Antti Wolk. I'm one of the two managing directors of Wolk After Sales, and I'm happy to welcome you to our third aftermarket online forum into 2021. We had already one in May, one in August, and now it's time to take a look again on how the situation moved forward along all the different regions around the world. And I'm taking you with me into the German market and try to give you some high-level insights, information about the COVID, but also regarding other European countries. So yeah, I'm taking a short view on the COVID situation, then we take a look at the car sales figures, and then especially at the after-sales car service in Europe, where I'm going to share some insights from our latest survey, which we conducted in November, December this last year. So to give an introduction into the situation of the COVID in 2020, it's very nice to use the TomTom slides because we easily can see what was the effect of the governmental measures on the traffic. We see here with the red dots cities where the traffic increased, and the blue dots are cities where the traffic decreased. And clearly we see in March, April, May, everything went down, and then it recovered in June, July, August, and September. And then everybody know we after everything or everybody believed we are heading back into a normalized world, then the incidence numbers, they went up, and the governments, they were forced to take some actions to get back to control the situation, and there we still are. Taking a deeper look into the single countries, especially in Germany and France, we see exactly this wave, what I just described, and certainly other countries just have similar situations, but the governmental measures affected a bit different. The second lockdown, which is called the light lockdown, was taken in action in end of October, beginning November, and then from time to time the regulations need to be more strict. And the last regulation was here in Germany in mid of January, so it was extended and tightened a little bit, and that is exactly the biggest difference towards the first lockdown phase during the springtime, that now the numbers of the incidences, they are not going down according to the governmental measures we have taken. So it takes longer time that the numbers go down, and at the moment we don't see it clearly going down. The last days are giving a little bit more optimism, but at the moment it's still a very uncertain situation. So everything again is imaginable, but yeah, mostly no one wants to believe, and I would say the optimism is higher than the pessimism, but yeah, that can change very quickly as the situation for now is again somehow very uncertain regarding the governmental measures. I would like also to mention, at least here in Germany, we see a difference to the first lockdown with the light one. Even the shops, they need to be closed. They found ways to keep at least a little bit of the business alive. So click and collect is a very common method at the moment. So there is a bit of the business kept alive, but many industries are really harming and not existing at the moment. Taking a look now on the car sales side, we see a very dramatic declining of car sales during 2020 compared to 2019. So on average of all European countries which are covered here, we see a declining of 24%. And all countries except Norway have really high digit numbers with declinings. And we see maybe a little bit of southern and eastern countries which have higher numbers, and mid-Europe and northern countries, they haven't been affected that much. But all over the numbers are very high, and these are the worst numbers for many years. And at the moment we can say that December giving a little bit of optimism, because the numbers were only at minus 3.7% towards the December 2019. But as I said, the light lockdown situation is again somehow uncertain, and on top there is this delivery problem with the semiconductors. So at least the vehicle manufacturers and the OE supplier, they are again in a kind of in a tense situation, whereby we must say that for all market participants it behaved like the wave I showed before. So the expectations were really went down during the lockdown period, and then we saw a recovery during the summertime, and especially in September, October, the companies came back to life, not only the car service side but also the industry, and I believe that many of the players overcome their expectations, because they have been very low for this year. So the Q3-4 went better than maybe expected, but at the moment there is again some feeling of uncertainty in the market. So going to the next slide. We see here also the effect of the declarations of bankruptcies. During my last presentation in August, I expected that we will see a lot of bankruptcies and insolvencies during Q4, but it doesn't appear, because the regulations were still kept so that the companies which get into trouble, they are allowed to continue their business during the lockdown period. So we have a very weird situation that there are no, or the numbers of bankruptcy declarations are very low, although we know that the economical situation for a lot of market participants is critical, and of course more affected are those companies with higher share of car sales and high dependencies on the OE market, whereby the independent aftermarket is maybe not affected that highly on that part of insolvencies. Now I take you to the part of the car service side. So we will take a look how the car service or the independent and the authorized garages performed in 2020. So we conducted a survey in end of November, beginning of December, and we asked 500 independent and authorized garages in 10 different countries, which were Sweden, Latvia, Poland, Romania, Croatia, Italy, France, Spain, UK, and Germany. And yeah, firstly, we asked them certainly how do they think how the turnover will develop or end in 2020 compared to 2019. And certainly a lot of countries and a lot of garages stated that it will decrease. They could state if it will stay the same or if it will increase. And we see that there is a very diverse picture between the countries. So the 1,000 countries with Spain and Italy, they stated that that the turnover will decline by 20 or 25%, and also Poland with -18 is affected very hard. But then on the other hand, we have countries like Germany, UK, and France, where the expectation in the beginning was, I would say, very high, but then since the September and October, the business was very well recovered, and they end up only with a -4% turnover. And those figures, where we can see that in Germany and the Netherlands, it really turns out that it's on this low digit number, the minus. And then we have a northern country with Sweden, and they even expect to do a plus in 2020 despite the COVID crisis. Comparing these numbers, I forgot to show the weighted average among all the countries. So weighted means that we calculated those numbers with the number of garages behind. So this is the expected, firstly expected effect on the volume in those countries. And comparing now these numbers with the numbers of the authorized garages, here I have to say that we asked only to state or give a statement for the servicing, and there is no car sales included here. Otherwise the numbers would be way different. But also here we see, and that's a bit of surprising, that above the weighted average and the average above all the countries is even a little bit lower than the independent aftermarket. But again, a very diverse picture here among the countries, and also an effect that the countries Spain, Italy, and Poland, that the authorized car services seems to be affected less than the independent aftermarket. And a totally opposite situation in countries like Germany, France, and UK. The authorized garages definitely had a higher impact than the independent garages. And then I'm taking you to one of the trends we definitely had also before the crisis, that is the electrification, the shift from combustion engine to alternative drives. But we absolutely witnessed that this crisis is an accelerator for this trend, because we here see the numbers of the new car sales in Q1 to Q3 of 2020 compared with 2019, and we see that the share of fully electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids, that it doubled up and was completely positive towards all the other engine drives here, which are totally in the minus, of course. So this is, as I said, an accelerator for this trend to electrification. And we notice here in the entire mindset, which is going into a very ecological shift, but certainly also the pressure from the political and governmental regulation towards reducing the CO2 combustion is or emissions is definitely having an effect on the market here. And we wanted to reflect this trend now also within our survey. So we asked our garages, what is your share of electric and hybrid cars today? And what do you think will it be in 2025? We see here among independent garages, they stated to have about 1% of cars which are totally EVs in the garage today, and they expect it to be only 5 years in the future, a percentage of 9.1%, which in my personal eyes is a very high expectation. But yeah, that's what the market says, and it's certainly very diverse from country to country. But this is now the general overview about the European level. And on the OES side, we see a total of 2.5% of EVs already in the garage, and they expect it to raise even to 15.8%. And a similar picture here on the hybrid, but always with a higher starting level, so that today already are more cars in the garages, with 2.9% of hybrids in the independent garages and 7.4% in the OES garages. But they expect, accordingly to the EVs, a similar growth rate to be expected in 2025. And then switching to another trend where we witness a completely acceleration of the trend, which is already going on for many years. That's the digitalization, but in special the e-commerce market. And we see that online marketplaces and web shops are absolutely the winners of this crisis. Everybody knows the market gaining of Amazon, how much more they did in this year, and accordingly did eBay. But when we're looking at the automotive market when it comes to car parts sales in Europe, we need to mention Autodoc, which is this year aiming to end 2020 with a turnover of 800 million euro, and which is a high gaining towards 2019. And just to keep in mind that they in 2015 they were still with 66 million. So this is a very good example for the growth rates of the e-commerce, but also that the let's call it the consolidation, or that of the company size and the turnover is much faster on the e-commerce side compared to the traditional sales side. And that makes it already, with 800 million, to be number 8 already in the ranking of all the independent car parts distributors, so also the traditional ones. And here's rising up another giant. And the rally seems to be not to be over, because we reflected this trend also with within our survey. And firstly, we asked, so what is the current share of car parts you purchase already from online portals like Kfz-Teile24, Oscaro, eBay, or even Autodoc, and what they expect it to be in 2025. So here we see the independent garages stating that the current status is with a very kind of a low level of 3.5%, but expecting it to increase up to 8.4%. And yeah, that is quite a high number. If we yeah, just do the simple calculation that 5 percentage points in the independent aftermarket volume, what does it mean? So there is a huge amount or a huge part of the market shifting from the traditional distribution to the online distribution. And on the OES side, we seeing everything is at a lower level, and the increase is not as much expected as in the independent garages. And another figure is giving yeah, some information on that side, that the e-commerce is not only the winner in 2020 but will be also the next years, because if we are looking at the customers who already bringing their parts, their own parts into the garage, and we asked also the garages what do they believe, to what amount or extent will it grow in 2025. So again here pretty similar figures, but yeah, already now 5.5% among these 10 different countries are having yeah, 5.5% of the customers are bringing their own parts into the garage, and they expect that this is even growing to 8.5%. And yeah, we need to keep in mind that or we can assume that the majority of those customers are purchasing these parts again through the online channel. And as I said, similar figures here at the OES part, so low level and increasing with a lower pace. So now we take a look at yeah, the current biggest challenges. So we ask the garages, yeah, what do you believe is the biggest challenge for you now? And we ask this completely open, so it's an unaided question here. And this is not surprising that, yeah, number one, with a big gap to the next levels, is the impact of COVID, of course. But on level 2, 3, 4, we find then the yeah, typical challenges which the garages are facing. But surprisingly high amount of garages stating also that they have no challenge at all. So this to be kept positively in mind here. And if we're looking here into the country level, we see also that the impact or the concern on the COVID crisis is very different. So we see that Poland has stated this a lot, and Germany, UK, France is at a lower level. Surprisingly, Italy, because they had a very hard impact, the statements are more or less at a lower level. But we will see with Sweden, which is yeah, had no impact at all regarding the turnover. They even stating that they are doing positive. They are yeah, seeing the most challenges. And if we compare Italy and Sweden, it seems that if you are stuck in a problem, then yeah, you might do not see too many challenges anymore, and vice versa. And one of the challenges we didn't see here, but we actively asked the garages, it has nothing to do now with the COVID crisis, but I think this is an interesting information to share with you. So we asked about your perspective on the access to OEM restricted car data. And here's also surprising figures that only 1/3 was 28% is seeing this very critical, and they perceive it as currently not solved and will be influencing the ability to repair in the future very strongly. And opposite to that, we see then 36% stating that it is critical, but it will be solved with the right access level soon. So seeing the issue, but they rather believe that this is not critical and will be solved. And And then another third was 36% is saying that it's totally uncritical and not relevant for my business. So 2/3 are more relaxed looking at this issue, and 1/3 is very concerned. This is just another highlighting the statement that we are looking, or many garages are looking in a more positively in the future than negatively. So, and at this slide, I want to share, the future expectations of the garages. So we asked them also in a open question, unaided, to state their expectations. What do they believe? What is happen in the next 5 years? And here also, very positive that the majority or the biggest part of statements is optimistic. So they see positively in the future. They believe that there will be business growth. 96 statements are regarding to keep the level, no high expectation, but also no negative. They carry on like it is. And 75 statements are really pessimistic and giving a very concerned regarding the future. And this is mostly regarding through the COVID crisis and the general trends we all know. And there is another one which is surprising me a bit, because this is regarding all the statements went into this direction that they see the problem right now, they see the trends, they see the issues, but their answer to that is to work on the garage, to develop it to be fit for the future, to be a stable, good company in the next 5 and 10 years. And we're taking a deeper look here on the country split, and there we see also that that the pessimistic ones is also distributed among the countries very different. And according to the slide regarding the turnover, we see that Italy, Spain, they affected very hardly, and France, United Kingdom and Germany, they rather look optimistic in the future and have also higher shares among to develop on their business. And that is, I take the chance to lead into a little bit of advertisement for us, because we are taking also action on that side and developed something new, which is called Werkstatt Profit or Garage Profit. And this is a data-driven performance optimization program for independent garages and car dealerships to help them develop their business to a brighter future. And this is a program we have in our portfolio for a longer period, but this is now 2.0, because it's completely based on the real data, on the numbers which are taken out with an interface of the dealer management system. So we have a ton of insights of the real data. So we are not working with estimations, with gut feelings whatsoever. So we can benchmark these numbers with the previous years, with market participants, with the entire national market. And this is a very, very good tool in combination with our consultants to increase the turnover and profit, to improve the efficiency and quality and the customer satisfaction. So this is in a rollout now, and we are keen to looking forward to help the garages tackling the crisis, tackling the upcoming trends. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure to share our view and insights on the market, and especially to the insights of our latest survey. So if you're interested in more detailed information, please get in touch with me. I'm happy to share some more information with you. And I'm looking forward that we are not going to keep on having these online forums for too long time, and I'm looking forward to meet all of you in September at the Automechanica in Frankfurt. Hopefully we are looking in a more normalized future then, but for now, I can only wish the best to everybody of you. Stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Do you have a complete strategic market overview covering all of the key players in 37 countries across Europe? Can you compare your sales by country against the market and your competitors? Are you aware of all of the latest trends driving the aftermarket today? Would having all of this information in your pocket be of benefit to you? The Wolk After Sales Access database gives you a complete market structure, showing you the key market players by country, taking the guesswork out of any strategic, tactical or marketing decision, guiding you and your team to the best decisions that you can have for your business today. To find out more about how you can access market volumes, understand the European garage structures and the who's who of buying groups, sign up for your free 30-minute sales access database session now.